Hi, everybody. I have not streamed or uploaded in a very long time. I have been absent, been kind of busy, but just a lot of effort to do streams, so don't do them that often. I recorded a lot of videos. I need to do a lot of video editing and upload a bunch of stuff. But hi, nice to see everybody, anybody who shows up. Got a couple things that I can fix today. First one, good old-fashioned Flexgate. Figured I'd do a stream of this because it's the double Flexgate. So it's the backlight and the camera side are both broken on this. So as the title says, Flexgate in 2026, yes, this is a 10-year-old machine, and this is an extremely difficult, very tedious repair for such an old machine. But the screens for this machine are kind of expensive. Not only that, if you try to save some money, like I did 2 weeks ago, somebody came in with a 1706, bought a screen off of eBay, figured I'm making some, good decision because it's cheaper than the suppliers. It's only $100 for the screen, so fine, that would be good. It gets here and it's Flexgate damaged. The listing said it was perfectly working order, but it's Flexgate damage, so thanks. But I can do the Flexgate. It's my own labor, so I didn't lose much on it. The little cables are really cheap, so fine, whatever. But that's why it is a good idea or a good repair to do Flexgate still. Because if you have a screen and you know it's in good condition, you don't have any scratches in it, the corners aren't dented, you know what you have. All that it is just these little cables are broken. Easy enough to fix. Well, easy enough to fix. Am I live? I'm sure there's going to be no notifications of this. I don't know how many people are actually going to show up, but yeah, I have not streamed in so long that I've been removed from the YouTube Partner Program because I haven't streamed in so long. So I have to upload some videos and everything to get my partnership back and start earning some ad revenue on YouTube. But whatever it is, it is. Hey, there are some people here. Hey, how's it going, guys? you got a notification. That's amazing. Because, yeah, I have not uploaded or anything in probably a year. Maybe even more than that. Maybe a year and a couple months. Just been too busy, too stressed out with everything here. I see why, like, Tim and a bunch of other people are shutting down these businesses and finding other lines of work. Because you think you're going into business for yourself, but no, you now have 100 different bosses when you open up a shop like this. Everybody thinks that you work for them now. It's that attitude of people that I hired you, you work for me, you're going to listen to me. And it gets really obnoxious. Tim used to complain about it all the time. I never saw it working at Rossman Group because I was behind Kevin and Shane and all those other guys that dealt with the customers. So it sucks dealing with the customers sometimes. Some of my customers are absolutely spectacular. Love some of my customers. But anyway, Flexgate. Why is Flexgate a problem? Let's show some Flexgate. Yes, nobody's posting MacBook anymore. So right now I have MacBook. If the stream seems like it's going good, I do have a couple other repairs. I have some Sony PlayStation controllers. One needs a charge port, one stick drift. I have another MacBook with no backlight. What else? There's another MacBook that needs a CD. So yeah, couple repairs I could do. So Flexgate. Let me show you what's going on at Flexgate. For anybody who doesn't know, who hasn't been here before, who hasn't seen this. This area here, so They changed up the whole design in 2016. This is a 2016 MacBook Pro, 13-inch with the 4 Thunderbolt ports and the touch bar, which model number is A1706. They changed the design to make the screen thinner. They put the T-Con board here inside the machine. So then they had to run all of the normal ribbon cables that go from the T-Con board to the panel. They had to run that all through the hinge now. Not such a bad problem. Before that, this was your screen cable. This is a screen cable from either 1502 or 1398. It's either the 15-inch or the 13-inch MacBook Pros from 2012 to 2015. They all use the exact same cable. And it is the hinge. It's two LVDS connectors on either side, and it runs. It's just a bunch of wires that run straight through the hinge. So it's just wires twisting themselves like this. These things never broke. The only time these things broke is when somebody disconnected it wrong, or if water got on one of the connectors or something like that. That's the only thing that would take these things out. These things never just broke on their own. This, on the other hand, when they engineered it, these, so, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Yes. So these wires here, these large ones, this is for all of the image data. So these are made properly. I bet that it was like another company that was responsible for this. Whoever made the screen panels themselves made these. These, however, this is for the, this side's for the webcam, and this side over here is for the backlight. So these are connected onto the T-Con board here. And they're taking, like, the backlight's created by the board, comes through over on the regular screen cable to the T-Con board, and then it goes from the T-Con board to the backlight strip that's in the bottom of the screen. So as you can see, you can see the crack already. I don't even have to, like, zoom into it or anything like that. But I will. This thing right here is too short. You can see where it's all cracked apart. Let's get it out of here. And when you open the screen past, like, you can easily go to 90 degrees, maybe a little bit more, maybe 100 degrees of it being open, and this will never happen. But if you're in the habit of opening your screen all the way to the stops, you see, if I pull on this a little bit, there's still so much flex, so much, oh, nice, it broke. That might be a little bit of a problem. I'm going to have to tape that back together, just for finding proper length and cutting area. So this is a lot longer than this. This is the length that this should have been. Now, Apple had a service program where they said a small number of machines are affected. That's an outright lie. Every single machine that they made in 2016, until they caught this error, was affected by this. And they didn't even want to admit that it was an error. I don't even think they manufactured replacements for a little while. Every single 2016 suffers from this. By 2017, they figured it out, and they put longer cables in there, and they had a program where they would replace your screen for free. So they tried to do a little bit on it, but they only did it for the 15-inch model. Or I mean the 13-inch models, the two 13-inch models. They refused to acknowledge that this was also a problem in the 15-inch model, which it is. It's the exact same problem. So it's just Apple passing the buck and blowing smoke and everything. The normal thing. So what we have to do is we're going to cut this wire and just make it a little bit longer with a new connector on it. Sounds easy until when you're here and you see it and you see the size of the things that we're dealing with, it's not as easy as it sounds. So first I have this, this is a stencil, universal stencil. It's supposed to go into a big stage thing that holds the chip, and then this goes in there, and then you could shake your balls into the hole. But this just happens to be a really nice aluminum frame that happens to be the exact right height. It was just a thing that was laying around in the shop in New York, and it turned out to be the perfect size, shape, height, width, material, everything to do this repair. So it wound up staying with me because nobody at the Rossman Group shop wanted to do these repairs. I was the one that did all of them. And I have a good amount of these under my belt because you very rarely do what we're going to get to later is the camera side. You very rarely do the camera side. The camera side is not, the traces are a lot thinner, so that's not as brittle. It has more flex to it than the backlight side, so it doesn't break as often. So I have bags. These, you can only buy these things in a set of 2. 1 camera, 1 backlight. I have bags of these things. I think the count was like 160 camera ones still left because I never used the camera ones. I used a couple of them. I mean, 5, 10 maybe at most I've done on the camera side. But yeah, I've done, and that was just at Rossman Group, and then here I've probably done about 200 of these so far. I don't think many other shops would have ever got that many. In New York at Rossman Group, we had so much throughput of machines. Since I've been open here, yeah, I probably only did another 10 at most. So the first thing I did was put some Kapton tape just to protect my work surface. You can see where I'm kind of cutting into it under the microscope. So then we're going to get our broken cable. We're going to stretch it out on here. And take some more Kapton tape. I'm just going to tape this, stretch it straight out. So I developed my own technique for how to measure and where to cut and all that. Depending on the tools you have available to you, that would be different. But you can see the cut lines that I've made in this, so you can see exactly where I want to cut it and everything. And then I'm just going to put this other piece of Kapton tape down to give me some room to be able to cut it. And let's just straighten that out a little bit so we can just properly measure the new one. That's close enough. And we're going to take a brand new cable. And the way I learned on this setup and everything, where to put it, is, let me get another piece of Kapton tape ready. I just put it with this little extra screw holder tang, that much more. So that I'm going to make this new one that much longer. And that just happens to be the perfect length for that much longer. One time we got these cables that didn't have the screw holder anymore, so I got kind of lost on where to tape these down for that load of cables, but now all the cables are coming the same, just like this. So there, we're exactly that length of more, and we're straight and parallel, so that when we cut it, we should be good. So now, cutting. Use a good X-Acto knife. We found these, I think it was Camille in the shop. Where are they? I don't see them anymore. We found these X-Acto blades for order on Amazon that are just absolutely spectacular. Oh man, I don't see my boxes of them. They're blue steel. They're like Pro-Life or something like that. I forget what they were. Oh, here they are. X-Life, that's what it is. X-Acto X-Life. Yeah, everything's out of focus that close. These things, they're a blue steel knife. These blades are absolutely spectacular. If you're doing stuff that needs a good, strong blade, get those. They're worth the little bit of extra money. They're not even that much more expensive, but they are well worth it. Oh, yeah, about the knife. Just having a good blade isn't always the end-all to it. I reshape my blades for this. So I take a terracotta pot. This is actually a little terracotta pot from a yogurt company. And the bottom is unpainted, so it has the regular ceramic on it. You take that and you sharpen up your tip. So what I want to do, I don't want a pointy tip on this. I want like what you have on a kitchen knife, where it's a round tip on it. And it needs to be super sharp for what we're doing, too. The next step, it needs to be super mega sharp for it. So honing it down on some terracotta helps a lot. You need to hone your knife every single time you use it. Every time, you're going to see me do this 2 or 3 times. Every operation, you need to re-hone your knife. clean it off. I'll show that under the microscope when I'm talking about with the... So it's not just a sharp tip. It's a rounded tip. And that rounded tip is where we're going to do most of our cutting and scraping and everything. And you can see that it's nice and sharp now. There's no nicks in that round part at all. So this is going to cut through this really well. So I have the lines to go by here. I'm just going to go straight across both of these and try to make a straight as I can line to just cut these both right off right at the same spot. It also helps if you try to put your tape on straight. I didn't put the tape on straight, so now my cut looks crooked, but it's actually the tape that's crooked. There you go. It's that easy to cut through them. So now this one here is garbage. This here is garbage. What we need is the other piece. So I'm just going to pick it up by the Captain tape. Just makes it easier to tape it back down here. So now we need to scrape all this off and prepare our surfaces. I'll start with the original side. I'm just going to scrape the black coating off of this. And don't worry about the copper. The copper's still coated right here. I'm going to get that with a fiberglass scratch pen after this. But the scratch pen doesn't work. You have to push too hard for the scratch pen to work on this this black coating. So we're just going to remove the black coating with the knife first. And then it's a good symbiosis between the two. So the fiberglass pen, it takes too much to take off the black coating. But then your knife, it's too easy to cut into the traces and make marks on the traces with the knife. So you use one and then the other. So that, I'll take my fiberglass pen, and we're just going to lightly rub across it until everything is shining copper. Now, very important. Paul Daniels will attest to this. These things suck. This is the worst stuff you could ever have on your desk. You get one of them stuck in your finger, in your hand, you know it. You know that this sucks. So immediately when you're done using a fiberglass pen, do not just blow that onto your desk. Do not just blow that into the computer. Cut yourself off a piece of Captain tape. Put the Captain tape down. Pick up all that stuff with the Captain tape. If you see it anywhere else on your table here, it does get flung around a little bit. Start with everything good and clean, and then you'll see where things are flying. Get it all stuck in your tape. Now it's all stuck on the tape. Now it can't get stuck in my finger. Fold the tape over and throw it away. Don't ever blow that stuff around. This is the new cable. We've been through a lot of different suppliers, a lot of different cables, and some of them are not great quality. Some of them were great quality. Some of them were so bad that I refused to use them. We had to order over again from somebody else. These ones that I found, I just bought these off of AliExpress. I bought a lot probably 3 years ago. Haven't used very many of them, so I do have them here for repairs. But these seem like good quality. The traces are good and thick. This coating is really nice on here. The next coating down is a bit thinner, but I don't think it really matters. Because you can see that like the traces are coming almost clean just from this. So that next clear coating is a little bit thinner. And we're going to come back to this coating too, because there's an important step that I do next that a lot of other shops either say, oh, I've done these 100 times and you don't need to do that. Yeah, sure, okay, whatever. Then you've done it wrong 100 times. I don't give a crap. But it's a kind of difficult step, and yeah. Fiberglass pen. Gotta clean this one up now. Okay. Fiberglass pen always goes back into its little pocket protector thing that it came in. Doesn't lay anywhere else on the bench, so it doesn't shed any of those tendrils anywhere, little fiberglass shards anywhere. You go right to picking it up with tape. Okay, a quick swipe with a Q-tip and some alcohol. Very little alcohol because you don't want it getting underneath your tape and unadhering stuff. Now the next step is the coatings on these. This black coating that I removed. It's kind of hard to see. Let's see if I could get it on camera. And change my simufocal. Sorry about the shakiness. Hard to see on this. Maybe if I give it a little scrape. Yeah, that silver that's showing up there, that's conductive. That is a conductive silver layer. So it's multiple layers. This black stuff here is multiple layers. You have the clear layer that's on the copper. Then you have a black polymer layer. Then you have this conductive layer, and then another black paint layer on top of it. So this conductive layer is like a EMF protection or something like that, whatever it is. This is on both sides like this. These cables, you see, even though I cut them with a really, really sharp knife, they're kind of folded down and folded under. The fold where this goes underneath here could... Oh, let me move down a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. This end of each one of these cables, these are carrying voltage. And these could have folded under here, and they could be touching the silver on the inside of the other layer. So we need to trim all of these back, so it's no possibility of after we solder it, or right now, or anything, that it's going to ground itself out. If you've done this job and you've had that problem where it stage lights, or it doesn't work after you're done, it's because some of these got grounded out, and you didn't take this step. This is just an extra step. It's a little bit of extra work to just ensure that you don't have more work ahead of you. So we're just going to, again, let me sharpen my knife. This is another point where you have to re-hone your blade. And we're just going to cut through the copper. So this is copper with some glue layer or whatever, and then Kapton tape. So we don't want to cut the Kapton tape. We just want to cut the copper. So the lightest touch possible, and then pick it away, and there you go. We just cut a little bit of that trace off. And we're just going to do that for every current carrying trace, which is all of these little ones, and then one of the larger ones off to the side there. And we're going to do that on both sides. Takes a lot of practice to get this right. It sucks when the Kapton tape comes off like that. Sometimes if I don't have a clean enough edge, I will do it again and get shorter. And then so those are all return lines. And then this is the main supply line for the backlight voltage. Everything else that's on here is ground, so you don't have to worry about anything else. There you go. That's the original side done. So now we're going to move over to the new side. The new side's even touchier with how you have to cut it. It likes tearing away the Captain tape of it. And there you go. We're prepped. So now I will take this tape off of here, and we're going to line them up together. Butt them up together. I see some fiberglass that was underneath that. That needs to get picked up before we go any further. I don't even have that lined up yet, but that fiberglass is not getting stuck in my skin. Fuck that. Take the time to get rid of it. And I just picked up the whole thing. That's great. Okay, start over. Okay, we're all set for alignment. And we give it a little bit of flux. And I'm using, oh, I don't have the right tip in here yet. So, quick little note. I've seen a lot of people have hard times removing your micro handpiece soldering tips. I've seen people use pliers or the flush cutters, and they put nicks into here, and I guarantee you it shortens the life of these tips. So what I do, first off, I have the dual setup. So if I try to remove this one, it's going to scream at me, the FM203. So I activate, even though this is off the cradle, I activate the other handpiece. It deactivates this handpiece. It thinks that it's in the cradle, even though it's still out. So now it's not going to scream when I remove the tip. So I take my tweezers, I just drop my tweezers down on that tip. Squeeze them closed here and pull the tip out. That easy to take your tip out without doing any damage to the tip whatsoever. And I'm going to take my eye tip. So that was the standard wedge. I forget the name of the shape or whatever. But the standard tip, this is the one that's just a tiny little point. That's what we're going to use for this. So you want to let go of this really fast because it's going to get very hot very quickly. Just line up the flat spot, pop it in, it's good. Now we could take it off of sleep. And there you go. We're back heated up and ready for this. Hello, chisel tip, thank you. Could not think of that shape name. No? Am I dropping frames? That took a really long time to respond. No, 0 drop frames. Oh, well, stream health looks good. I seem rounder. It's just jollier, that's all. So I have the tiny little eye tip. You see how tiny all this is. I'm just going to fill that with a tiny bit of solder, because you're going to lose all the solder every time you touch this. It's all going to wind up on the cable. So you want the tiniest bit of solder on here. Okay, need to tin that. I need some fume extraction. I think I might have to get out the chemical tin. Yeah, let me get out the chemical tin paste. This is Hacko tinning paste. Cleans and tins your soldering tips. You don't want to use that to solder, but clean off the tip, get it wetted again. Now, there we go. So that little ball is going to wind up just flooding all over this. Nothing's going to be on the soldering iron when we're done. We'll do it again for the other side ground. So these are small enough to where they're not going to take all of the solder off of your iron. So we could just drag across these, just tin up everything real nice. There you go. Everything's tinned up good. I do have a little bit of excess solder on my tip. I want that. Now I'm going to take my wires that I'm using. So this is number 40 magnet wire. 40 gauge magnet wire. This is half the size of one of my beard hairs, which is the only hair I have left. So I'm holding it in my hand right now. I'm just going to tack it down on this first one. This is the larger one. I'm not using this one. I'm using number 44 gauge. That was too large. You saw right away that's the same size as your trace. When you're replacing a trace with a piece of wire, you need it at least like a half of the size. You don't want it the same size because you have 3 dimensions of copper to go on here. It's a round of copper, not a flat piece of copper. So you'd want something that's at least like half when you're dealing with stuff this small. Maybe 2/3. This is going to be unsteady until I get the tweezers on it. Just need to get it tacked down so that I can get a pair of tweezers on this. There we go. Now we'll start holding it with tweezers and we could be a lot more steady. Let's unsolder it. And then just wiggle it off at the connection, or at the end of the connection. You got a happy little solder joint. And I just bent the hell out of it trying to get rid of that burnt up solder. Just straightening out the wire again. I'm gonna try to start with it in the tweezers this time. No frame droppage in Australia. Australia's been on my radar lately. My significant other is watching the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader documentary, dramumentary, whatever it is, show. And it was news. It's a year behind, and it's news that they invited a Australian influencer girl to try out, and she wasn't the best, but because they're trying to promote American football in Australia, she was put on the team. Wasn't a bad decision. She's a good fit. But they're talking about a lot about Australia. And making fun of how you guys say no. There's too many letters in the word no for you guys. Nar. And just make a U in the larger section so that we get more. And that should be it. That's it for that side for soldering. Now we just need a bunch of cleanup and cover up. So, actually, before I do that, one thing I like to do is all of these ends that I ripped off, this is all exposed copper here. So I don't like having exposed copper like that, especially raw copper that's been ripped up. So we're just going to touch each one of these ends just to make sure everything got coated in solder. There you go. Now we take a Q-tip with some rubbing alcohol, and we're going to clean off all of this flux. Now, a lot of people get worried or they freak out about cleaning things off. I'm not being gentle with this. I have a good amount of rubbing alcohol. I'm pressing a good weight on this as I'm cleaning. If your soldering job can't survive you cleaning it, then you need to go back to the drawing board. You need to solder better. Plain and simple. If it's too delicate, like there's times for this when you're doing dead bugs and you got these solder joints that are just hanging in the middle of the air. Like, yeah, those are tough to clean. Then you need to just dunk it in the ultrasonic cleaner and let ultrasonic waves and water clean it all up without ever touching anything. But something like this, if you can't rub a Q-tip on it to clean it, then you need to redo it. Anything that falls off, you need to redo it. This should be strong enough that it can survive you rubbing a Q-tip on it. Clean the bottom side. I'm going to do it one more time with a completely clean Q-tip. Now I will tape it back down, and we will seal this up. Tape it back down a little bit farther down than where I was, so I have a good area to work with. Me attack Paul Daniels? Nah. Why would I ever? Just the maker of the most amazing software ever used. I kind of really mean that too, because he uses his software. I use his programming and the way he makes his software as like an example on why other software sucks. Because he uses his software and he puts in features that make sense because he uses it. So all programmers for everything should be forced to use their software. For whatever they got to do, they should have to use their software. Because then they see the errors in what the hell they did and see what could be better. Really liking the new version of Flex too. It's taken some load off of the GPU or something. Like the old version really lagged on some of my systems. The new version's not doing it. So we're just taking some UV activated conformal coating I'm just gonna give a nice light coating on this. You can't pile this stuff up deep because then it just never cures. It needs to be a nice light coating. I have a little bit of a blob of solder right here, so I'm just going to smooth it out with the dental tool here. Just from when I lifted up my soldering iron, it left a blob there, so we're just going to smooth that out. I have a little bit too much, so let me clean this off. I'm just going to slide all this over. I'm going to give it a little bit of a margin everywhere that I scraped off and everything. Okay, good and coated. I'm going to take a near UV laser. Solder. Yes, let's solder it. I turn off the light. I've been thinking about trying to balance a camera to show you what I'm seeing here. This blue just washes out any sensor that you try to look at it with. But when I'm looking at it through the microscope with my eyes, it is not as bright as what you're seeing. It does not flood everything out like that. And, like, right now, the green coating is, like, fluorescing almost. It's shining back at me. It looks bright. And then when I go to the uncured section, it's very dark. So you can actually see when it cures and what's cured and what's uncured just by looking at it when you have the lights off. Really good technique to understand that you can see exactly where you have not cured and what's not cured yet. And you can see the limit of when it's cured too. But I can't, I'm probably with my main camera and I don't know, maybe a probe lens or something like that. I don't know, something to get me close. I can probably balance that out to where you can see what I'm seeing, but I haven't put forth the effort to try to make that. And now I'm to the right of it. You can see on this camera here in the bottom corner. I'm leaning on one direction, so there could be shadows in certain areas. So then you put it on the other direction and shine your light from that direction too, because there could be shadows underneath some of those wires from that one direction. So you want to, every direction that there could have been a shadow, you want to put the light in another direction. You have to expose everything to light. Okay, that's the top. I'll take some Q-tip with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and just give it a quick swipe. And now we got to do the bottom. The bottom already got some on it. Let's just clean that up. We'll try to focus that once I get some conformal coating on my dental tool. Just get a nice little roll of the green conformal coating. This is just like Bob Ross, my God. And we're just going to put it right across the break there. Just stretch it out right across the break. And now we do want, just like the other side, we want some margin, so I just do little circles all the way across the break. So then we have maybe a millimeter, maybe a half a millimeter on each side. try to distribute it as best you can. You want one side thicker than the other. And now we will cure that side. See, something like this is where it really shows up too, but I think no matter what I do, it's just going to swamp out the camera. Maybe if... Will the camera see it if I'm doing with the light on? And then as soon as I go here, it's completely dark. Until it cures. You can see that it gets rough when you have the light on, but you can't see that it's turning phosphorescent. And this is all dark. It's absorbing the light. This one's scattering the light back at me. Especially on a black background, that laser looks nothing like what you see on the screen. I barely see it on the black part of the cable. This is mechanics UV conformal coating. Let's see, which way is that facing? Trying to get to the... Oh, that's upside down. It's the regular mechanic stuff. This is the green one. I bought them in all the colors. Green one's what we used all the time at Rossman Group. Also used the blue on certain things. I don't like using the black on MacBook boards, even though MacBook boards are black and you wouldn't see it. I want to see where the repair was done. Okay, now that we have it encased, we are going to encase it again. I have here, I guess it's 5mm wide Kapton tape. I'm just going to cut a piece of the 5mm wide Kapton tape. And we're going to put it straight across that there. Try to get it as straight as you can. And then, I don't know if I could get this under the microscope. Yeah, I guess so. Fold it over, meet it up so that there's good overlap, and just push it down. Strong pressure to push it all down. And then we'll take some scissors and clip off the excess, leaving about 1mm of tape. Maybe 2mm of tape. And there you go. There's a fixed backlight Flexgate. So if we attach this here where it belongs, carefuling, carefuling, carefuling. There we go. And if I pull it out now, stretch it out, you see that they're pretty much the same size. It's leaning to the one side because the other side is still short. But now they're pretty much the same size. There's the same amount of flex here that there is here. So this is now the proper length. So now let's go over to the camera side. So the camera side is significantly more difficult. Significantly more difficult. So I'm going to start with a fresh, clean work area. I'm going to take my Kapton tape off of my work stage here. So now I have a completely clean work area. There's nothing left there. I'm going to put some new Kapton tape down. Can't start my Kapton tape. There we go. RL UVH 902 is way better than the old green stuff. I gotta take a look at that. I mean, I've had no problem with the mechanics. You just have to make sure you put it really thin. It would be good if I get something that you can put down a little bit thicker and it'll still cure. A lot of things have been going to this UV resin stuff, the glues and stuff like that, so there's probably been advances. I should look into that. I'll definitely look up that UVH 902 to try to remember that. Only ever did the camera flex once. How many have you done, too? So if you've done the camera flex once, how many flex gates have you done? Because like I put it on my website, I said at the beginning here that it's just very rare that the camera goes. I have somewhere around 200 flex gates under my belt. $30 or $40. That sounds about right, yeah. Every 30 or 40, you're going to do one camera. That sounds about right. So same thing with the spacing. Just that extra dingle arm piece more. Might be easier to go the other way with this. Just to get the little screw hole thing to stick over the side so I can measure it properly. Yep, right about there. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't see any of that measuring. So if you flatten this out completely, the bottom of this screw hole is just barely touching the top of the old cable. So that is just the perfect amount extra to put in here, to where it doesn't, it's almost the exact same as the original cables. It doesn't bind up and start smashing into the back here, and it definitely has a nice curve when you open the screen all the way. It's never going to fail again. Okay, sharpen my X-Acto blade yet again. I'm outside the bounds of my normal working area because I went backwards. So let's try to line up everything. That looks about right. Firm, steady pressure. You gotta hold the X-Acto blade just right so that it keeps going straight. If you tilt it a little bit, it's gonna like start curving on you and stuff. So you gotta learn how to hold the knife when you do this, so that it cuts perfectly straight. Oh, good. I was on the Captain tape most of the time. Okay, so that's garbage. This piece is garbage. I will then put the Captain tape onto this and put that right next to that. Okay, now the process is exactly the same. When you see these traces that come out, if you remember the other size of the other traces, when you see these, holy crap. grounds are the same, which helps because it stabilizes the cable when you solder the two grounds. And then here's all the little data wires that we're going to be connecting for the camera. You see that? That's what makes this nightmare fuel. It keeps going. We have more. So the large trace, this large trace in between is the traces we just dealt with. Am I even close enough for you to see that? Let me get closer. That wasn't just one trace there or something like that. They're all individual traces. When you're far enough away, it looks like, oh yeah, they're the same size. No, not at all. And now we have to be even more careful with our fiberglass pen here, because these traces can get lifted and be gone. The Apple original cables are pretty strong, but I've done this before when we've got lesser cables of the new ones, where I ruined, like, in this step right here, I ruined like 3 or 4 cables and just had to keep cutting up a new cable. You have a good old stage light one. This one was everything. I mean, I guess he didn't know that the camera was gone too. But yeah, this was not just stage light. I guess it probably started with stage lights, and I'm guessing the customer's probably like, "Hey, what's going on with my MacBook?" And then there's no backlight whatsoever, and then you start searching around. Why is there no backlight? And hopefully you find Flexgate. And I don't know anybody else that is doing this. I never paid for SEO or anything or anybody to do my website, but people find me. People find my website. Still doing this repair. If you go back to the beginning, I explained, a little bit of why. Like, kind of makes sense to still do this repair even on a 10-year-old machine, just because of the price of screens. And if you try to save money on screen, you're just going to get screwed in the end. One of the things that's a real pain in the ass about this is because we do have 2 different sizes, so I will be using 2 different size wire on this. I will be using the same one that I used on the other side, the 44 gauge. And then the other one, I don't even think it has a gauge number associated with it. I forget where we got it. It's some phone wire, superfine silver jumper wire, 0.007 millimeter. 0.007, 7/100th of a millimeter. So that's what's going to be used for the tiny data lines. I don't even think, is there a gauge associated with 0.007 millimeter? Probably up around like 60 gauge. Just almost sliced my finger trying to get that piece of plastic off of there. These new cables that I got are pretty good quality. I like the way this all feels. Definitely got lesser ones before. Oh, thanks, Ed. Yeah, I miss being a part of Lewis's channel. I miss being part of something that much bigger, that much bigger of an audience. Although at the end, I didn't really care for some of the audience that was starting to show up. But the repair audience, the guys, all you guys that came for the Lewis repair streams and my repair streams on Rossman Group channel, it was a great group. I loved talking to that group. I loved hearing from that group and collaborating with all them. Some of you guys still on Tim's Facebook group, too. I see you in there. Some of you guys I see on Bad Caps, too. Thank you for anybody who's been posting schematics on Bad Caps. Oh, my God, thank you. I wound up joining. I'm paying their fee now so I can get schematics. And thank you for re-uploads for any of you guys, too. Because, like, yeah, their servers, I don't know what they've been changing, but they've been losing uploads and stuff. All right, now it's the same thing as before. So you can see the striations here. So you have let me get something pointier. So you have the black plastic. You have some kind of white coating, then the black plastic, and then this almost looks like two different coatings. So there's a copper coating and a silver coating, and then a black paint. So if I take my multimeter, put it in beep mode, hopefully you hear this. Maybe when I'm talking you might hear it, I don't know. If I, all the way up here on the paint, that is completely conductive. The paint isn't conductive, but this is, this second layer. Second and third layer, it looks like on this, because it is two distinct different colors. So it does have a grounding all around it. That's why I do this next step, where we're going to trim every single one of these. See, I don't even know what... I know this is going to be ground. Let me measure it on the other one. Let's see. I've done so little of these that I don't even know which one's ground, which one's power. So let's see which ones we can ignore because they're ground. Just stick one of my probes in the computer, because this one is going right back to the computer still. Or no, it's going to the monitor. Am I going to have ground to the monitor? Let me connect the screen cable so that I'm sure I have a electrical ground. And let's see if the ground is ground. So ground is just inside the computer. That's ground. That's power. All of these are going to be power. That's ground. Power, power, ground, power, power. Okay, so this is data lines then with a ground in between to protect them. So this big one and all of the little guys have to get trimmed. We can forget about that one, and of course the giant ones. I guess I'll start on the original side. Again, sharpen my blade. This is the extremity of my microscope's zoom. This is the, is actually the Amano stand, but this is the Amscope SM04. Yeah, the SM04 I think is the main model. That's the simulfocal, but yeah, I think it's 90 90 times is the max, and that's what we're at right here. Didn't really want to take the Captain tape, but that's what that felt like. Oh, look, that already fell off. These are really easy because they're so tiny. But you have to remember that when you start soldering. They fall off real easy. Okay, I'll move over to this one. Like I said about this step before, some people think it's unnecessary. I've had people argue the point on me. But if this extra work that I'm doing keeps me from having to take one back apart and do this all over again, this is worth it. Especially with how many I've done in the past. I don't want to be taking these apart because I have stage lights after the fact. Or in this one, the light sensor's not working, or the camera's not working right, or something like that. All right. A quick cleanup with very lightly alcoholed Q-tip. Clean up this too. And we line them up. There we go. Now the hard part. First we're going to do the grounds, because the giant grounds do not need any wires. This ground will need a wire. I'll probably wire that one. I'll wire this one, and then we'll wire all of those. First, though, so we're going to do it in a different order to try to avoid hitting other ones when we're done. These are going to be big, so that's going to be pretty easy to do. My God, look at how big my tweezers look against this. These are the tweezers I use for 402s and everything. Like, this... Do I have a 402 laying out here? No, here's a 805 resistor. Yeah, it's massive compared to these little things. So first we're going to do the grounds to create a solid base for everything so nothing's moving. And then we're going to do the tiny data wires, and then we'll do the power and larger grounds. So that seems to be the best method of attack. I need thinner tweezers for this. Where are my... Here we go, my mega ideas. That's better. Actually, just for the hell of it, let's see, ow. Here is one of my beard hairs. Compared to those wires. That is a human hair compared to those wires. They're half the size. Yeah, I guess my hair is the size of 2 of them if there was no gap between them. Now first a little bit of flux. Ooh, where the hell did that go? Oh my god, there's nastiness on that. Must have wound up at the top of my solder mat or something. Squeaky clean now. That is a pall amount of flux. Looks like toothpaste. Where did this get? Jeez. I don't know where I'm getting dirt on things from. Just broke off the tip of my solder because there was dust all over it. Okay. A little more. There you go. And we'll hold down the 2 ends so it's nice and flat. As flat as the earth. That's a big connection, so let's get a little bit more. That looks good. That looks great. Let me get out my superfine wire. I got it. You can only see the shadow of this. Sometimes you'll see a glint off of the light or something like that, but you can't see this stuff. It's so tiny. You have to see the shadow of it. That is the wire that we are using for this. Oh, I need to tin everything. Let me tin all those pads first. So I probably should lower my soldering iron for this, but I'm known that everything's always full and full. I don't change my hot air temperature. I don't change my hot air volume. I don't change. This is 840 degrees Fahrenheit soldering temperature. I always use the same. But for this, I'm kind of tempted to lower it. If only Hacko wasn't absolutely ridiculous to try to control your temperature. If I had a dial on this, if I could just dial down my temperature a little bit, I would. We're just going to use the tiniest little taps of the iron for this. Okay, now the stuff that's not for the faint of heart. Brace yourselves, we're going in. Lewis always talks about don't try to make it look pretty, because when you try to get cute with it is when you mess it up and you wind up like having to redo the whole thing. That sucks. So this is one that once you get a good solder joint, just done. You're done with it. Don't try to make it look perfect. Like, I don't care about that little kink in there. It's a good, strong solder joint. That little kink can stay there. The hell did that ball of solder come from? Off my tip. That was weird. I should probably be doing this reverse, actually, so that the back end of the tip doesn't hang over the completed work. Because that's probably what wound up shorting me out on the last one. Do that on the last 4. Oops. So we'll start from the farthest one so that our tip doesn't hang over the piece that we just finished. I think I need to clean my tip and add new solder. I don't have it in the bottom of my tweezers. There. So this is signal wires. These are data wires. They're not carrying current. They don't need to be like super robust. They just need to be well soldered somehow. They don't need to be, they're not carrying a bunch of current. You don't have to worry about them burning out or something like that. Last one. Shit, the ground is going to get in my way. Didn't get in my way that bad. Okay. They're all soldered. Now we just got to trim off these excess. I paused to read chat for a second. I've never been able to, like Lewis, be able to do this work while reading chat. Saw some funny stuff there. I gotta go back and read what you guys are saying. Now, like I said, I like to seal the ends of the copper that have been broken off. No fucking way on this one. I am not touching them. They are all soldered well. I'm not touching them. There's one that I'm concerned about. This one right here with it pointing out a little bit that it might get caught on a Q-tip. But no, I'm just going to be really gentle with a Q-tip on this one. Yeah, not messing with that at all. Now we can go for the larger ones. So back to our 44 gauge wire, the massive 44 gauge wire. Size difference in that. Let me clean off the tip. I don't need any extra solder for this. That wire just wants to go where it wants to go. That has a just fine patch of solder on it, but I just want this wire through the center of it just for robustness of the whole thing. Of this entire repair. Okay. Now we can clean. Let me get that. I don't like that there. There's a giant dab of solder right here. I do not like that point. There you go. I'm scrubbing much lighter on here. Like I said, there's sometimes when it makes sense that your repair might not be that robust. Like I said in the other one, you should not be afraid to scrub, but these wires are unbelievably small. And even so, you see the fibers pulling on them and everything. I'm not being super overly ginger on this, but I am not scrubbing it like I did the other side. So that went unbelievably smoothly. I will pause for the applause. So yeah, and any of you guys that have done that, you know that just went unbelievably smoothly. I can't believe how easy that was. Anybody who doesn't know what this is, you just saw like a miracle. that just went through with no hiccups, only the first ones that I put down did it bridge, and I had to straighten it out and everything. Does any current flow through the soldering iron tip and into the wire being soldered? No, but there's a caveat to that. The tip is grounded, so if you're trying to solder something that is active and on, it will short out whatever you're trying to solder. So you never solder anything live. Everything always has to be off and discharged before you solder. And especially if you're soldering some capacitor string or battery or something like that, make sure everything's off, discharged, disconnected, made safe before soldering. Because the soldering iron is just going to ground it. Clean everything off. Take it back down a little farther away, so now we can conformal coat this. First, let's inspect, now that it's nice and clean. Yeah, those are all good, solid connections. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Plenty of solder on all of them. One that's kind of iffy. This one here. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2 from that way. That one, that top is kind of iffy, but the end of it looks perfect, so I'm fine with it being iffy down the center like that. Yeah, it doesn't come through on the camera as much as what I'm seeing. Everything's so much clearer when you look through the eyepieces. Get my conformal coating out. Clean my dental tool again. That's a bit much, so I'll just leave a drip, leave a drip, leave a drip, and that should be enough. Clean that off. I always maintained that a lot of the supplies we use, we waste more than we use, and conformal coating is one of them. That most of the time, most of what I use is on paper towels and getting thrown away or wiped off on Q-tips or left on the dental tool. I try to minimize that as much as I can, but like Lewis with his flux usage, he's just trying to boost flux sales, but yeah, the waste of everything. Smoothed out a tip there. I think I need a little bit more. I get a little bit more. I can clean something off. Something's squishing out from the bottom of this. Okay, cure it. I don't know if you see that or not. It kind of comes through. To the top right of the laser spot, there's a bright white glowing piece there. That is actually flux. I must have not cleaned off some flux. Flux, at least the NC559 V2TF Amtech flux, has a UV fluorescent dye in it that allows you to inspect both is it clean or was there enough flux applied for anything. So you can shine a UV light on your desk or on your work and see where flux. You see it all here. Yeah, it definitely shows up on camera there. All of that that white glowing stuff on the Captain tape, that's flux. So yeah, I did not clean off enough. I didn't clean off the stage when I cleaned everything. Okay. Give it a wipe with some alcohol. Also clean up my stage and the back. Okay. Now we'll do a line across the back. Think of any more than that. Nope, that's enough. No, maybe a little more. See how it stretches. I can get this bit off of the dental tool I don't need anymore. There we go. That looks good. Lewis isn't selling Amtech anymore, though. I don't know, something happened with the supply, something. I forget what it all was, but he's not selling that anymore. I don't know much of what he's selling. Actually, if you go to the store page, store.rossmangroup.com, I'm still their like front page face. In my favorite bright green shirt. I have my military green shirt on today. Yeah, something about changing the formulation but kept the same model number. Like this is no longer NC559. It's like the same as the other main flux that they sell. I don't remember, something weird. But I went down to visit them. I went down to Austin a couple months ago to visit them, and came home with a handful of flux tubes and stuff because I still haven't bought any. I'm 3 years into running my own shop, and I have not used all of the flux that came back to New Jersey with me with my desk. So the couple of tubes that I had on my desk when I packed up my desk and brought it to New Jersey, still using that flux. So I'm just finally starting to run out. I think this is my last tube that I have on here now. And then Lewis handed me a handful of tubes. Sorry about the delay. I was reading chat. I didn't read that whole thing yet. Right in the center of, and something about the stage that I have here and where I'm cutting all of these and everything. When you fold this back up in here, every time you open the screen, everything's moving back and forth. So this location, exactly where I'm putting this, never bends. It never flexes. Anel was doing some of these at Rossman Group too, and he was putting them in different places and stuff like that. He tried putting it like kind of up closer and cut less of the cable off. But if you put it up over here, this is the part that needs to bend every single time you open the MacBook. So it didn't last. His repairs started coming back, and then I had to redo them because it needs to be cut farther down, where this part will never flex. It only slides straight in and out, and it's the top part. This is the part that's going to be bending now. So there's a lot of nuance to doing this repair. And it just sucks that it's gotten old and nobody wants it anymore, because you learn all of these skills and all these nuances, and you make I didn't really make it, but like this is basically a special tool with special markings and everything to get it just right. And now like it's not a popular repair, nobody gets it done. You see like maybe 2 or 3 of them a year. I guess that's just how everything goes. I haven't worked on a MacBook Air, and I can't tell you how long. I have a couple of them here to refurbish and try to sell, but I don't even know if anybody wants any of those 1466s anymore. because all the security's out of date and everything, and you can't get updates on Chrome. Pain in the ass. Still great running computers though. I have a 11-inch MacBook Air sitting over here behind me on the desk that runs all of my shipping printers and my label printer and stuff. It's a 11-inch Air i5 with 2 gigs of RAM running Windows 10. Runs great. It's a 2011 MacBook Air. So always put back all your tools to where they belong. Cover your knife. Put that back. Connect that. And that is perfect length. The cables, the new cables are the exact length of the image data cables. So now the next thing we're going to do, take a Q-tip with some alcohol, light alcohol, so I dry it off on my pants a little bit, and we're going to clean out the entire inside of here. Get all of the dust, everything sticky out of here. You're still going to have dust in here. We're going to blow it out later, but the alcohol will get it from sticking to things. So this is also where we have Dustgate. So yeah, this is something that I should have explained at the very beginning. I do have people call saying that they have Flexgate, and then they'll tell me like, oh, it's a 2141 with Flexgate. Like, no, that's not Flexgate. Flexgate doesn't affect a 2141. What you have is Dustgate. And Dustgate, I've seen people repair it. I won't do it. Now, you just witnessed me do this ridiculously hard repair. I am not pulling a screen out of a frame and then trying to solder the flat flex to the screen. No. That's where I draw the line. I'm not doing that. You get a puncture in one of these things. Most of the time, the puncture is in an area where it moves and flexes. So trying to fix it, I haven't seen it be a good, reliable repair. I'm sure people have, and they've done it, and it's been in a good location. This actually looks like it wants to get Dustgate, because there is puncture marks in the tape here, but we probably caught it early enough that it won't happen. You just gotta, this needs to be cleaned. And we're gonna take our air hose here. I have compressed air piped through the entire house. I have a nice big 33-gallon air compressor out in the garage that runs it all. If you don't know, I was an automotive mechanic before this, so I have a lot of air tools. Oop. I hate that they switched to connectors that can pop open, and they have to have connector covers on everything now. Like, they didn't used to do that. The connectors just closed themselves. They didn't have to have covers on them and screws to make sure they stay closed. Well, I can show you here how many Ugga-Duggas on a MacBook. So I have the Ingersoll Rand impact wrench. Like a quarter of an Ugga-Dugga would twist this thing up into nothingness. So you see that when we're closed, so I'm lined up where the screw is going to hold this and everything. When we're closed, we're not rubbing into the top over here. And then we're actually a little bit longer than the image cable. So this is going to be perfect. This will never flex hard again to where it's going to break. This is going to be absolutely perfect. And then if we look in here, where it is, it'll never flex either, because this is the farthest in it's ever going to go, and we're not flexing the joint. This is just... These connectors suck. We're definitely fully made it, but it just pops open. And it's just, this is just going to slide back and forth right here a little bit every time you open and close it. It's never going to bend, so you don't ever have to worry about your joint breaking, because that's where it sits. It sits right after the twist, right after the bend, and it's just going to move back and forth right there. No, you haven't been missing my streams promo. I have not posted anything in probably over a year. Year and a couple months probably by now. I've actually been removed from the YouTube partner program because I haven't uploaded anything in so long. So I need to get some... I recorded a bunch of videos in the meantime, but I just haven't had time to sit at a computer and like title and edit and all that stuff. So... someday. Like, one thing I've been wanting to talk about, wanting to get out there, that there seems to be a error with one of the PlayStation 5s that nobody's talking about. The 1215 A and B, model 1215 A and B, the heat sinks are falling in two. And I made some videos about it. Let me actually show and tell. This is the heatsink from a CFI 1215, either A or B. It's just A and B if you have a media drive or not. This is the plate that bolts the heatsink to the big armor plate that's underneath the main board, and this is just separating. The solder is turning to powder. It looks almost like a little bit of liquid metal has snuck underneath the tape and contaminated the solder joints, and they're just falling apart. Now, they're all doing this because you can't get this heatsink. Nobody makes a replacement. It's not like I can just go to Thermaltake and say, hey, I need a new heatsink. Nobody makes this heatsink. You can only get reclaimed used ones, and all the ones for this model are reclaimed used because this broke. So you can't get these. And it's completely different on every model. You can't really adapt... I've loosely looked into it, so don't take it fully, but you can't adapt one of the other ones to this because they're too different in shape. They're too different in bolt pattern. They're too different in shape. They're too different even in the fins and everything here. So there's no way to use one of the older ones and bolt it in there. It just sucks that because of this, these things are just garbage. There's nothing you can do about it. I can't replace this. And I'm only a little shop here. I've only seen a couple hundred PlayStations. It's one of my more popular things that I work on. I work on a lot of PlayStation HDMI ports. I've seen probably about 500 PlayStations through here in the last 3 years. And I've seen about a dozen of those with that problem, where the heatsink has fallen apart. So it's got to be a widespread issue. There's no posts about it. Or at least I haven't concentrated searched in like probably 4 months. But 4 months ago, I did a big search looking all over Reddit, trying to find somebody talking about this, trying to find heatsinks, because a customer wanted a heatsink. Nobody's talking about it. It doesn't exist. It's weird. And I have a feeling that it's the last model of the fat. It's the last fat one before they switch to the slim model. And it's a faulty heatsink. You got your credit card stolen from PlayStation? You forgotten about the 1 Paul of flux measure? So that was Flexgate. I'm not going to turn it on. I want to set up a post-it note for login screen or whatever. I have some more things to work on, so let's just keep the stream going. The next thing I'm doing, I have a PlayStation 5 controller that needs a new charge port. So this is the DualSense 5 controller. This has a mashed up charge port. I like how we transitioned into PlayStation anyway. That is mashed to hell. So hopefully the board isn't that, it's hard to see on the camera. It's so dark in the middle of that hole because of the... But yeah, that thing that's at the top of the screen there, that should be right in the middle of that port, not at the top. So... First thing I need is... I made these little foam pads with a cutout just so that I don't stress out the sticks while I'm trying to take this apart. First we'll take out the center section here. And I need a black stick, and we'll take out the L1, R1 buttons. I need a Phillips head screwdriver. Take out our 4 screws. Oop. Good to be back, I guess? I'm not sure. I don't know, I'm just so busy. I should just do live streams more often. I mean, today's weird. So the last 2 days, I had about maybe 30 to 50 calls each day. Just the phone would not stop ringing constantly all day long. Today, it's been quiet. I don't know, maybe because it's a nicer day out. We've had rain the past couple days. Pop these 2 clips. So now it's a nice day. Everybody's thinking about something else other than what to get repaired. What annoys me, though, is that it's so many calls, so many people, talk to so many things, give so many prices, and one person has showed up. I don't know if somebody in my neighborhood is underselling me. I don't think so, because from what I hear from other people, like... yeah, I talked to Ubreak iFix about doing my HDMI port, and they want $235, and it's going to take them 3 weeks to do it. Well, here it's $165 plus tax, and I get it done same day, usually. If not, the worst case is next day it'll be done. And if you find somebody that's doing it less than me, good luck. Because I've been the second hand on some PlayStation repairs, and there's somebody in this area of New Jersey that is destroying PlayStations. They say that they know what they're doing, but I don't know. You got to read those reviews. I've got to change out my tip. So again, my special. Turn on the other handpiece. This handpiece is off. Drop your tweezers right on there. Yank. There you go. I'll put my chisel tip in. Let go of it quickly, because the tip that you're holding is going to get very hot. Now let's unsolder the motors. I guess I could do this on the overhead camera. You can't see anything from over there. What do I got? Overhead. Is that a good angle? Yeah, kinda. A little bit of crotch, little crotchy there, but get these out of the way so I can actually get that. Okay, the micro tip is not doing it on this. Let's just go to the full-size tip. What a difference. These are usually not that difficult to unsolder. So that's the vibration motor and the trigger kickback motor or something like that, whatever it is. I don't know, I don't have a PlayStation. Thinking about getting one, maybe, or maybe an Xbox or something to do, play Grand Theft Auto 6, but nah, I don't have time to do it anyway. I still haven't even finished, the third of the reboot of Tomb Raider, and I love them games. Okay, we are done with that. So let's get the foam off of here so we don't burn that and smell that. And let's get some new connectors. So these connectors were very difficult to find, actually. Actually, I think I might have a strip under my desk. Yes. So these are different than USB-C connectors. They are the same size, same shape. They look like the same, well, the same pin pattern. They look like they're the same, but Sony wired theirs differently. When you look at the back of this, let's get the microscope on. These pins go in completely different order than standard USB-C pins, a standard USB-C plug. So if you replace this with a standard USB-C plug, you'll see videos of people doing that, where they put a regular USB-C plug on here, and then they start cutting these traces and rewiring traces with jumper wires. Don't do that. Just don't do that. Is your controller really that important to you that you need to get it done right away? Order these. Get the proper ones from China. Just wait for shipping. Get them from China. If you do this work, order it ahead of time. Go get the proper ones. Don't be cutting traces on the board and running little jumper wires to adapt a regular USB-C plug. Just get the real ones. You see how bad this one is. It's all ripped off the board. Luckily, it looks like there's no pads stuck to any of those connectors or any of those pins. So let's just take this off the board. I'm going to take it off from up top here because I have some pins that are still connected. So I want to make sure that I heat them up real well and get them off the board without pulling pads. So let's see if, I don't know if Wick is going to pull everything out of this. Let's get some flux. I don't know if some Wick is going to pull everything out of those holes. Maybe while it's still hot it might. No, I'm going to have to do a trick. It's either I'm going to have to heat and use the solder sucker, hot air and then use the solder sucker, or we'll have to do a trick to use Wick. Yeah, the lead-free is just too high of a melting temperature. So what you can do is add a bunch of regular 60-40 solder to the hole. And now it won't want to mix right away. So we have to force it to mix. Take a dental tool and get in there with a dental tool and mix it around. And now when we put the wick on here, it should pull everything out. I don't know where to get real Goot wick anymore. I can tell I've used enough wick that all the Goot wick I'm getting is fake. It does not have any flux in it. It just does not pull anything out. I have to add flux all the time. So I don't know who sells real Goot wick, how to get real Goot wick anymore. Everybody has counterfeited the brand. Lewis doesn't sell it anymore. He had a good supplier from China. Okay, let's clean that up a bit. I don't know, you know, this is one of those things that, why did you have to create a new part number for a USB-C connector? Why didn't you just use a part number that's off the shelf? That, like, I complain about that in automotive like crazy. That all these new companies come out. I actually had an argument with the Rivian engineers a couple years before they came out. They were at the New York Auto Show, and got into kind of a debate with them about why, if you need shocks and struts for this vehicle, why aren't you just buying something that Monroe already has made? There are plenty of vehicles that are just as heavy as this, that have the same characteristics, that a shock from Monroe or KYB or something is going to work perfectly for you. And then we will instantly have replacement parts as soon as your truck's on the road. As soon as you produce it, we're going to have replacement parts. We don't have to wait for anybody to catch up or make anything. We don't have to wait for you to have an amazing amount of sales for somebody to make it worth their while to create a replacement parts. There's just going to be replacement parts. But no, they want to make a whole new number. They need to engineer it for themselves and only for themselves. And it's the only shock, the only vehicle that it fits on. Like, why? Why does everybody do that? Tesla did that. Everybody does that crap. It pisses me off. So yeah, I got into a debate with the engineers because they were there. Why do they need to control supply of their shocks? The hard parts, brake rotors. Like, look up the Tesla brake rotors, and some of them only fit Tesla Model 3 and Model Y, and that's the only thing that it fits on. I do have to say something about Tesla, though, is that they have been consistent with their parts on their own stuff, at least. Like, they have, like, I forget what it was, brake pads or something like that, that it's the same brake pads or the same rotor for every single Tesla that's ever been made. So, like, that's pretty cool, but why couldn't you just use one that's already made? Like, a rotor that goes on a Corvette is more than ample enough to fit your Tesla. I'm not sure exactly how I want to do this yet. I want to immobilize it, so I'm probably just going to solder some pins here. I don't like the way it's rocking. I'm just going to solder some pins just to immobilize the whole thing right now. And then we'll probably go underneath. Got a nice bridge. But like this too, like you don't want people changing a USB port, or like, what's the point in making your own USB port? Like, you really thought that hard ahead that you don't want people changing a USB port? Like, that's sick to me. That's there's something wrong with you if you think like that. So hitting this one melted that one, so this, I might not have to do much hot air on this. That may have went all the way through. Oh yeah, that's great solder joints. But I do want to hot air down the center part. So this is going to be weird. Use the device of gravity to hold this. This little device has lots and lots of gravity in it. I don't know how they get so much gravity in such a tiny little spot, but my god, it has a lot of gravity. Okay, I'm going to just heat it from underneath and watch it drop down. And unfortunately, I'm using an Atten hot air now. My JBC threw a impeller. I got the new impeller, I just haven't had time to rebuild the system yet. But that new impeller cost like 1.5 what these Attens cost, just for the new blower motor. I was happy that they would at least sell me one, but not very happy with the price. But it is worth it. The JBC is that much more superior. I believe I have a customer, so I will have to go on mute, and I will be back. I don't have a customer. I have a friendly neighborhood dad that brought me a pack of Krispy Kreme donuts. Hell yeah. We don't have any Krispy Kreme stores by us, but we do have the cases in a couple places. So he goes over to one of the food stores around here. Every once in a while brings me back some Krispy Kreme donuts. Never had one hot, because we don't have any stores. And I've been to the one in Times Square, but I've never ordered anything from the one in Times Square. I'm happy that this one only has one row of pins. Like yesterday I did one of these on a Xbox Elite. Those USB-C connectors are a pain in the ass because they're double row. So you have to like prep it and tin everything, tin both sides, tin the connector, because I don't trust just putting some solder paste that it's not going to bridge. So I tin both sides of the pins and then just heat it from underneath. Usually it's pretty successful. But these are so much better. You just go across and solder the pins. I hate the double row things. A lot of Lenovo's use the double row too. And there you go. Nice new, it's all the way down on the board. Really nice solder joints on that. So this is going to be good and stable in here. I just thought about, the next one that I'm doing is another controller where we're going to change stick for stick drift. And after you change the stick, you have to calibrate the controller to the new stick. So there is software to do this now. Nice GitHub project. I don't know if they've updated it. I downloaded it a long time ago. But it's not on this computer, so I can't capture it. I'm just going to have to, like, point my camera at a monitor for you to be able to see it. First I have to sanitize a desktop for it. Okay, so a quick test. Make sure it activates 5 volts and nothing's shorted out. Turn it over, activates 5 volts, light even blinked. Yeah, we're good. And we can reassemble this. Just read some comments. See, now Caterpillar makes more from selling parts than they do selling equipment. Fine. Tell Sony to sell the part. I would care less if I have to pay $2, $3. Like I'm sure when they get these manufactured, they're paying pennies for them. It's probably like 3 cents per connector or something like that. So sell them for $3. I have no problem going to Sony and buying an official connector for $3. I'll spend $30 on a strip of 10 and have them here in the shop. But they don't sell them. They hide them. They keep them for themselves. Like I'm fine with if you want to do proprietary parts and then just sell them. That's fine, as long as you sell them reasonably too. Like, don't try to do a 1,000,000% markup. You made it for 3 cents and you're going to sell it for $30 for one little connector. No, that's ridiculous. And you see, yeah, to keep parts money coming in, they know eventually it'll get copied, but most people will stick with the manufacturer original, but not really. When was the last time, I mean, I worked on a lot of cars. For a Dodge, I have never bought Mopar brakes. I've never once bought Mopar rotors or Mopar pads. It's always Raybestos or Wagner or something like that. Never, ever have I bought AC Delco pads. AC Delco? No. My Camaro doesn't have AC Delco in it. My Dodge doesn't have Mopar in it. It has... my Dodge, I forget what has. It has somebody brought in free samples of some new company. They wound up being, like, everybody hated them, but... Centric, was it? Something like that? I liked it. It's still in my truck, and I have no problems with them. My Camaro has Wagner Fleet brakes, because they share the same rotors as like some of the old cop cars or something like that. Same rotors and brake pads. So my Camaro has Fleet brakes in it. I wouldn't put AC Delco in there. Let me lay down some fresh solder. This solder just does not respond well. Would solder paste and hot air be better? So, yeah, like I was talking about the ones that have double row. I have one right here. This is a Switch, a Nintendo Switch that I just did a couple days ago, and this is the Microsoft Elite. And this is how messed up it was. So everything's completely hidden. You can't see anything once it's placed down. And then the Switch one, you can see the last ones, but you have a row that's hidden from you. At least, this is Switch OLED, at least I have an inspection hole where I can look through and see the other soldered ones and make sure they got soldered properly. But what I do, so I don't trust that the solder paste isn't going to bridge. If you're not stenciling it on, you're just trying to put a line on and then smack this down into it. I don't trust that it's not going to bridge. So what I do is I make my connector look just like it does here, like the used one, where everything is tinned like that, and then I tin all the pads on the board where they all have nice little puffy pillows, as Jessa calls it, on every single one of the connectors, and I just slap it down like that and hot air it like that. And that has worked really well. That's been the best way that I have found to put these on so far. Trying to plug the microphone back in. One screw internal. Taking these apart is so much easier than the Elite. The Elite has so many damn screws and finger traps and things you have to disconnect. Xbox One, anyway. I've done one of these other ones before. I forget what they're called. Sony used to sell parts. Yeah, Sony also used to let you put Linux on your PlayStation 3. Support it. Encourage. I don't know how that happened and why, well, who in the world let them do that? There was some engineer that got that pushed through until some executive realized what it meant and like, holy shit, we can't let them do that. Oh, that's one of the things that sold me on the PlayStation 3. Just the idea that I could do that. I never even did. I never even installed Linux. But just that they would let you do that got me excited for the whole ecosystem and like, oh my god, you're letting people do stuff like that? Like, yes, I want to buy into this system. Take my money. And then everybody got all locked down and everything. Why are you not closing? Oh, well, it would help if I put the battery in first, though. I would have found that out later. Well, yeah, Vince, you can play PS2 games on a PS3, but that was only one certain model. That's the model that I had, the CECH-A01, and a couple other models, but that was the first backwards compatible model. It's not, back then especially, it was not easy to do that. It was not easy for the cell processor to emulate the PlayStation. Like it had extra hardware on the board just to emulate the PlayStation 2 engine to be able to play that. They didn't really take it away. They stopped making games with that extra hardware, but if you get one of the old ones that is backwards compatible, it still works with the latest firmware and everything. They didn't take it away. They just stopped making hardware that supported it. Which sucks, because I love Simpsons Road Rage, and that's a PlayStation 2 game. But my PS2 died, red light of death, a long time ago. It's actually sitting right here. I just recently pulled it out for something. I forget what it was, but... Ooh, shit. There's my PlayStation 3. CCHA01. And I'm thinking about trying to do the what you're not supposed to do, the reflow of the cell processor. See if I can get some kind of life out of it. I mean, I don't need it. It's not like I have time to play games anyway, but it'd be cool. I never joined the PlayStation Network, so all of my save games are actually locked onto that. So if I want any of my old save games, I do have to get the thing working again. There's also digital camera files. Like I was using that to download from my digital camera. There's camera files on there. That's the only place they exist, is on that hard drive. A little bit of Windex. Get the crevices that the escutcheons cover up. So now that they're open, it's nice and easy to clean out all these little crevices. I should have did this before I closed it up too, because now I take a black stick and you see all of the... I gotta send all this to the greatest technician that's ever lived. He collects gooch. You never heard the greatest technician that's ever lived, Salem Techsperts? The stuff that it winds up in your keyboard or in your laptop fan, he calls gooch. And he has a whole character on his reels and stuff called the Gooch Collector. He comes out in a bunny suit with a big toothbrush. He puts gooch in biohazard bags. I have some biohazard bags here somewhere. He's a great content creator. I love... He has a voice for voiceover. He really should do voiceover. I've only seen him ever get one thing wrong, like blatantly wrong. Everybody's still going on about the PlayStation 5 and its liquid metal, and it's not what everybody thinks it is. It has nothing to do with gravity and the liquid metal falling out. I just recorded a video on that too, because I just worked on one of the newest PlayStation 5s that has the grooves in the heatsink, and that is the dumbest idea ever. That is absolutely ridiculously stupid, and that's probably going to push me to edit and publish a video about it, because that is utterly ridiculously stupid that they did that. That and the whole build quality of the new PlayStation is absolute trash. The armor plate that sandwiches the board, you can't even call that metal anymore. It's so thin you could practically call it foil. Like, you can dent the thing with your fingernail. It's so flimsy and so cheap. Okay, feels good. And are we charging? 5 volts, 500 milliamps. We are charging. And always with the USB-C ports, always unplug them, turn it around, and plug it back in. Test it like that. And 5 volts, 500 milliamps. That is fixed. That is working. Now on to the next one. We have stick drift now. Right stick. Have to remember that. Right stick. This is average day. Not really an average day, though, because my phone has been eerily silent, which I'm kind of grateful for, because the amount of phone calls that come in here does not equate to the amount of business that I receive. They have no correlation with each other whatsoever. But it does have a huge correlation with how many phone calls I get and how much work I can do. Because there's days where I get a phone call every 10 minutes through the 8-hour day. So there's not getting any work done. You can't get work done. I see why a lot of shops have hidden their phone number. They don't have a phone number. This is definitely not profitable enough to hire somebody to answer the phone. So I just have to qualify for the YouTube monetization. You're asking, what do you need to get monetized again? It's what is it? 3 videos within the last 3 months. I already have just the way that the channel is right now. I have the watch time. I have the subscribers. I just haven't done any uploads. So I need to upload 3 videos within 3 months. I don't know if I don't think this live even counts. I might, even that's pain in the ass. I might split this up and upload it as individual videos or something, but that's a bunch of editing. I just don't have time or patience or want to edit. Yeah, some of my videos, I took a lot of pride in the editing. I had a lot of fun with it, but I don't know, it seems to be lost. Nobody cares, so I don't care anymore type thing. I had fun doing like the inserts in the video where I pulled out the thermal camera and then you had the thermal camera on the screen from the recording of that video and everything. Tried to throw some humor into some things. I don't know, it's a lot of work, and if you're a small creator like me, I made like maybe $100 every 3 months, which is cool little spending money perk thing or whatever, but just it's so much work. I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I like educating. I like talking to you guys. I like showing what needs to be done for these things. I want people to do it the right way. I don't want to be the second person that has to deal with something that's been royally fucked over by somebody else. So hopefully you find my video and you learn how to do it correctly. I don't know, the people that royally fuck things up, they're not even looking for videos. They think that they know what they're doing, so they just go ahead and do it. Like, even all the experience that I have, I'm on iFixit all the damn time. I want to see pictures of how something comes apart before I take it apart. I want to see where screws are, where screws might be hidden before I try to pry something open. Even if it's something that I've opened a lot of. Like the switch OLED that I worked on the other day for the charge port. I had the iFixit guide open just to be able to see screw locations and make sure that I'm putting everything back in the right spot and whatever. Some people refuse to do that. Okay, right stick. Right stick. I do not want to change the wrong stick. The right stick, which is the right stick. That's right, the right stick. Okay, let's get a new stick. We have new stick. What time is it? 5 o'clock. I'm not going to get to those two MacBooks today. I have to leave promptly at 6 o'clock today. Me and my significant other are going over to, there's a park a couple towns over that does plays in the park. They have this outdoor theater venue, and they do live action plays. They do 3 of them a year. They do like 5 or 10 performances each, something like that. So we are going to go see one tonight. Right now I'm just tinning all the pads. Same thing that I did before for just to make the lead-free flow a little bit better by adding the 6040. There's another thing that, like I say, we waste more of a lot of supplies than we use. So yeah, all of this solder is just to make sure that it comes out quickly and efficiently, but it's all just a waste. That will all get thrown away. I need pliers for this, tweezers aren't strong enough. I'm just going to heat it out from the top. Oh yeah, I know the Dunning-Kruger effect well. And I fully recognize that I am on the far side of it. That I fully admit that there's a shit ton of stuff that I don't know. And I will gladly look up, even if I somewhat know it, I'm looking it up. I have no problem with looking it up. I do not try to think that I know everything. But I think I've had that for a very long time. I've had that in the Marine Corps. I think that was trained into me. Now, one of the big things that I see people do not just try to smash the connector or the new stick right back into the old solder. Remove all of the old solder and put all brand new fresh. I have the Xbox Elite that I spoke of earlier that I just did the USB port in. I did the USB port because the USB port got destroyed by the person that was doing the sticks. They put TMR sticks in it, and they destroyed the USB port, so it couldn't be calibrated at the end. So I changed the USB port. I tried to calibrate it. Those sticks are trashed. He melted the TMR sensors on the side. Like the thing needs a total rebuild. So I'm ordering new TMR sticks for him, and I'm gonna do a complete rebuild on his controller. They also broke some of the pogo pins that go to the back paddles and stuff. They did an awful job on that. Okay, so we used hot air to get the stick out. Now, there on the bottom of this stick, there's contact pads that just, all they do is press onto the board. They melt. Whenever you use hot air, you wind up melting these. So all of these little circle patches here, that's to make sure that the stick is at the right height and the right level and everything. So we have to clean this off. You can't leave that there and put the stick back on, or you will have a weird drift bias to one side that will not come out in calibration. So it comes off pretty easy. The conformal coating on here is pretty good. But you can't leave this quarter of a millimeter, eighth of a millimeter on these. Will completely destroy how the stick sits here. We'll also go over that when we put the stick back in. You need to make sure that that stick is sitting completely flat on that board. There you go, all that's cleaned off. And we have our new stick. You see that they're not melted. That all needs to go onto there completely flat. So now, the way I do this is I'll hold it in my hand. I'll give a little bit of flux to one corner of the ground, the other corner of the ground, and then I'll tin my soldering iron. Now I'm holding this down flat so that it's completely flat. All of these little barrels need to be touching the board completely flat. So now I'm holding it with some good pressure, and I'm going to go up to the pins that I put flux on, and I'm going to solder them first. I didn't put enough solder. So you have to get used to how to hold it. You have to have really good pressure with your thumb on this side, and then 2 fingers on the top to make sure it's completely flat. And then inspect it after you do those first 2. You have to look underneath there and make sure all of those discs are completely flat on that board, all the way around, all 6 of them. So once you know that that's good, now we can go ahead and solder the other 2 that we didn't solder. So these 2 are holding it in there properly right now. So I'm not going to touch them until these get soldered. While I'm here, put new solder here. And now I'll redo the 2 that I did initially. And now we can do all the electrical connections. These are for the switch when you push in the button. This is for one access sensor. This is the other access. Now just some cleanup. This is all no clean flux, so you don't have to worry about it corroding anything or anything like that. And then just for ease of myself, I put a little bit of flux on these, so when I go back to do the connections of the wires, it flows really well. I'll also do that over here. There's a Krispy Kreme place on Route 17 South in Rutherford. That's kind of far away from me. Like that, I might as well go to Manhattan, to Times Square, if I'm going to go to Rutherford. Oh, and about the Dunning-Kruger effect, I've, in this line of work especially, and especially Lewis being so, in the media about it all and everything, I met a lot of people that are on the upcoming side of the Dunning-Kruger effect. A lot. I've trained a lot of them. When Lewis was doing the classes, I was the instructor. I trained a lot of them, and a lot of them came out of it. A lot of them realized that they know nothing, that there's a lot to learn. Oh, wait. I did not put the sticks on. Something about this controller. You can't get the joystick covers on once you get the controller board in here. Which sucks for, like, you should be able to change these. The user should be able to change these. Like, that's what the Elite controller you can do, or whatever theirs is called. Yeah, you should be able to change them yourself. You shouldn't have to do all of this. Get out a soldering iron just to change those things. That's nuts. I guess you don't really. If all you're doing is turning the board over and changing them, you don't have to unsolder the vibration motors. It does have enough room to let you get in there. You know what? So the question is, this may seem dumb, but being in England, we don't see Krispy Kremes. Are they actually crispy? I can't imagine a crispy donut. So they're not crispy. But do you have you had a regular plain white cake donut? It's like not really cake. The bread is not sweet or anything. It's just a regular bread, but then it's doused and coated in a I forget what the word is for it, the icing, but it's not icing, glaze. It has a sugar glaze on it, and the sugar glaze dries on the outside. Up against the donut, it stays kind of like slippery and liquidy, but the outside of it dries to like a you can touch it and it doesn't get stuck on your fingers, and it's kind of crispy. I would say it is kind of crispy, just the glaze part on the outside. But no, the donuts themselves, maybe in the, like, some burnt parts or something like that, it's kind of crunchy, whatever, but no, the donut themselves is just bread. I don't know where the name came from. I don't know how they got that name. But they're good. Like, my area is a Dunkin' Donuts area. That's all we have is Dunkin' Donuts everywhere. So they don't let Krispy Kreme move in. But it doesn't stop them from putting... I did that backwards. It doesn't stop them from putting Krispy Kreme cases in the food stores. It's annoying, too, that the other controller I just did, all the grounds are on the bottom, and all the other wires are on top. This is the exact opposite, but at least they put a little R next to the pad where the red goes. They did that on the other one, too. I don't know if anybody's ever saw that. When you're soldering these wires, there is an R to tell you that that's where the red wire goes. That's right, the red wire. What happened to my chat? Oh, Seeky. It's been 4 hours since I turned on my Seeky. Lewis used to just freak out over this monitor. He bought these monitors. He had a couple of them. It's a 4K TV. Maybe it's a TV. I guess it's a TV. I don't know if it has a tuner, but they're only 30 frames per second, and he used to he hated that I had the thing still, and it was on my desk, and that's what I used was a 30 hertz monitor. He said it hurts his eyes every time he walks past. I'm like, I it's static stuff that I'm looking at. The only time I notice is when I move the mouse, so who the hell cares? It's clear, it's got good contrast, it's got good brightness, I can care less. I have a Dunkin' Donuts about 8 miles in the next town. Funny thing, so yeah, I live in Dunkin' Donuts country. I did a short stint, like 7 years. I worked for the TSA at Newark Airport. And in the morning, when I drive from my town, Rahway, to Newark Airport, it takes me, with no traffic in the morning, take me like 15 minutes to get to work. It takes me an hour to get home in the afternoon because I worked from 4 a.m. till 12:30. So 12:30 in the afternoon, coming home, absolute nightmare. Going to work, straight through, no problem. The lights were all smart. They were all green for the highway to get there, and everything was great. But I counted one day, within a reasonable detour of, like, I can take this road to get to Route 1, or I can take this road to get to here. Within a reasonable detour of going to work, I can hit 14 different Dunkin' Donuts in a 15-minute drive. A lot of them, there was like 10 of them were just on Route 1 on my way to work. And back when I worked at Newark Airport, there was no Dunkin' Donuts in the airport. It was a big thing when they finally opened one in Terminal A. But yeah, we're in Dunkin' Donuts territory here. There will not be any Krispy Kreme. There's a Krispy Kreme in Penn Station, but it's not a store. They don't have hot donuts. We have gotten boxes of donuts from them, but they're not hot donuts. It's not a store. It's just an outlet thing or whatever. They're actually quite often on an app called Too Good To Go. If you never heard of it, check it out. It's any store that has food, instead of throwing it away and instead of giving it to like homeless shelters, because there's problems with doing that for some reason. Like, you get sued for giving them shit. So they put it on this app called Too Good To Go. And for very minimal money, you can get like for like $2 or something like that, they'll give you a whole dozen of donuts from Krispy Kreme. You don't know what you're going to get. Most of the time, it's just like the generic glazed. One time we got it was like we got 2 glazed, and the whole rest of them was Boston cream. But yeah, we try to do that anytime we're going out into the city and we're staying for the night or something. We'll pick up a Too Good To Go, keep it in our hotel room for the weekend. Like, we're gonna be going into the city soon for the U.S. Open when it comes up. I stay a couple nights in the city for seeing the U.S. Open tennis tournaments. And we always have a box full of donuts sitting there at the hotel room for us. So Dunkin' Donuts used to sell just donuts. They've moved to a lot more other things. They have coffee. They've always had coffee, drip coffee, and donuts. Now they have, espresso coffees and lattes and stuff like that. And now they're doing breakfast wraps and sandwiches and biscuits and bagels and stuff like that. But yeah, it used to be just donuts. That's all they had was donuts and coffee. But now they're trying to be more relevant. I don't know what it is. Just trying to make more money. I mean, like, everybody's doing everything. I'm waiting for Taco Bell to have a burger. They have French fries now, so when is Taco Bell going to start selling burgers too? The only one that I don't think will ever sell a burger is Chick-fil-A. Okay, now we need to calibrate this new one. So give me a couple of minutes while I move. Well, once I'm done with this, I gotta sanitize a desktop and get a browser open, or a program open. And I'll show you how we calibrate a stick after replacement. Taco Bell has burgers in Texas? Does it really? Are you shitting me? Does it really? I know regional places have regional things. Like, I've had lobster from McDonald's up in Maine, but there's no way. Like, I can see them maybe having brisket. Do they have, like, a brisket taco? But no, there's no way that they have burgers. Like, everybody has brisket in Texas, or at least in Austin. McDonald's in Spain sells beer. Their Taco Bell is getting into liquor and beer. In the city anyway. There's the Taco Bell cantinas, and they have a full bar inside them. Pretty neat. Okay, I will be right back once I get that computer set up to do a calibration. Okay, I think this is good. So, forgive the lo-fi nature of this, but we are going to just turn this camera around and point it at a monitor. Just because I don't have the program installed. I guess you can run it from a web app, but I'm not figuring out the difference in that just to do this. Okay, so first thing we do, so the first thing I do, this is the gamepad tester from hardwaretester.com. I'm going to plug in the gamepad, and we're just going to see what it looks like. So that is our stick. This circle here is showing where you see the center point is way messed up. The center point's terrible. So I'm going to test circularity. We'll see where it's good circle, but that center point is way messed up. So we want the center point to be center, and we don't want these big red things off the side here. This is that's the original. So that's what it should look like. It should always go outside the bounds of the circle all the way around. I hope you're seeing this. I should probably look at a preview. Is my head in the way or anything? No, I guess you're seeing it. I just have to make sure my head's not in the way. Let me move this preview so I can see it from my side. So actually, whenever I give a controller back to the customer, I will include a printout of this circularity test to show that it's been calibrated and working properly. So this, yeah, that shouldn't look like that. So we're going to close the gamepad tester for now. And of course my bookmarks bar comes back. I just turned that off. We're going to open up the DualShock tools. And now this is from GitHub. It's not official for anything like that, so they just hacked the system. So we're going to connect our DualSense controller. So this is what we see here. This one doesn't look that good either. So we're just going to calibrate everything. So we're going to calibrate stick center first. Start the calibration. So top left. Top right. Bottom left. Bottom right. And now that jumped right into the center. So I usually do it twice. I'll save the changes, and then I'll do it again. Save changes permanently, and then we'll do the range. So now you just rotate them, unlike the Xbox one where it guides you and you have to follow a circle. Just do the same thing that you would on that. I rotate it one way, rotate it the other way, nice and slow. Make sure that I'm getting all the way up against the edges with the controller itself. Done. Range calibrated. Save. Saved. Now we'll close that. We'll go back to the gamepad tester. Now the centers are great. Centers are exactly where I want it to be. Look at that. Perfect. A little low in the top left corner, but it is all passing the circle. This is perfect. Yeah, that's the new one is better than the old one. That's perfect. So now I'll just take a snip of this, and then that'll get printed out on a label for the customer. That's what their current calibration looks like on their stick. Did that look okay? Did I get that filmed right? So that one's fixed. Up a little bit more. I don't want to cut off too much of my head. If I put all of my head on there, you will get blinded by the lights. Yes, the gamepad stores all the calibration data internally to it. And that GitHub project allows you to modify what it stores internally and recalibrate it, which is needed. Like you can't replace this thing without recalibrating it. Before we had that, we had calibration trim pots that we had to install. I have them here somewhere. If the calibration was too far out, you had to install these trim pot modules on the back of the... Where are they? I might not have any more. It was a very long time ago I had to use one of them. Yeah, I don't think I have any more. I could have swore I did. Oh, here. I do. We had these. Without calibration, you would have to install this on the back of the stick that you replaced, and then you would have to manually adjust the calibration of the center point. You can't really do anything about the God, these are so hard to open. You can't really do anything about the range, but the range is usually not a problem once you get the center point centered. So this is just a, flexible thing. It goes on the bottom. It covers the two axes like that, and then it adjusts the resistance patterns a little bit on each axis. So you can center the stick. It's not a stick drift fix. It's a center point fix. Not like it says on here. I don't know, stick drift fix. No, this is a center point fix. It allows you to fix your center point when you don't have access to the software, which you still have to use sometimes on specialty controllers. Ones that, like, you get one that was branded for Modern Warfare or something like that. They load different firmware on there, and you can't update the firmware, and that firmware is not compatible, and it will not let you calibrate. Microsoft has made a tool. So if you have Microsoft controllers, if you have Xbox controllers, and you do this, Microsoft has their own tool that they published, and you could download to do a recalibration. PlayStation, at least they didn't lock us out. They don't have a tool, but they didn't make it so proprietary or encrypted that we don't have a way to do it. Some guys on GitHub found a way to do it, so amazing. We need it. I think that's going to be it for today. It's 5:30. I got to wrap up some stuff and be out of here by 6 o'clock today. I do have 2 more MacBooks to work on. I have a 1989 that needs backlight capacitor shorted. And what is this? This is a 2485 that needs a new CD3217. So those are for tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to stream it or not. I might. This was fun. Kept me engaged with my work. It's great to see all you guys. Great to hear from you all of you. 10:30? Where are you? 10:30. Is that Australia? Nar. That's too early for bedtime. Taco Casa has a chili burger. You know what taco chain I like? I like Del Taco. They're over in the West Coast. I really like their tacos. They're small, they're cheap, but they're flavorful. Yeah, it feels good to be streaming. This was fun. England, awesome. Do you do repairs? Runga? I don't remember who's text and who's not anymore. I don't remember anything anymore. I remember PP Bus. I remember PP Bus Aeon. I remember PP3B42. People call me like a week ago and expect me to remember when they walk in. Yeah, we talked a week ago. Like, I don't remember yesterday. I remember every instance of a chip on a MacBook board, but I don't remember your name. I don't remember what we talked about. Don't expect me to, please. Ah, cool. Well, have a good night, everybody. Have a good day. Glad you guys joined me. I may be around more. I have lots of videos that I've recorded. I have lots of clips that I have to go through and just edit and post. And I'd like to get the partnership back. It's good getting, you know, every 3-4 months you get a $100 check in the mail and like, oh yeah, that'll go for something fun. So yeah, that's the only thing that it always just bought me something cool or whatever. So yeah, want to try to get my partnership back. Get back to making some YouTube content. I don't know, when you do this all the time, it just feels like it's always just the same thing. I think Lewis got into that too, where it just feels like you're always just posting a video of the same thing, but the people that like watching this, and they like watching it, so you guys will be here for it. That's awesome. And then the people that have never seen it before, it's the first time they saw that thing, so it doesn't matter that that's the third Flexgate video that I did. It's only the second camera Flexgate video that I ever did. I did one on Lewis's channel. I never did one for myself. But, yeah, and people are there for it, so I should be here to create it more often. So, I'll see you guys around. Have a good one. Cheers.